My boyfriend beat me up. He yelled at me, "You're a rich girl. You look down on me. That's why you don't let me meet your parents." Actually, my family has no money. In my house, there are only 2 rotting corpses. They're quite remarkable. They can talk and even give me expensive burial accessories as jewelry. However, they both dislike my boyfriend. Pain. My face hurts so much. My boyfriend Jack is using a medical needle to prick my face. "Kathleen, I hit you because I love you." Jack pinched my chin. "I really love you, but I know I'm not good enough for you. You're beautiful, and your family is rich. So the only way to make you remember me is to hurt you deeply." As he spoke, he jabbed another needle into my face. I struggled desperately but couldn't break free. My hands, feet, and head were all tied with ropes. "Jack, stop! Please stop!" I cried out in pain. "I love you too. I'll take you to my house." "Really?" Jack's dark eyes lit up, and a slight smile formed on his thin lips. "You really promise to let me meet your parents?" "Yes, I promise you." I nodded through my tears. "I'll go home first and inform them. Then you can come to my house tomorrow, okay? I need to prepare early." At home, I have a brother whose body is rotting down to the bones, and a younger brother who died from an overdose of sleeping pills. I need to get rid of the corpse smell, and I need to dress them up. Otherwise, they'll scare my boyfriend away. Of course. Jack gently scratched my nose. Then he bent down and kissed the tears on my cheeks. "All right, stop crying or your eyes will be swollen, and your parents will think I've been abusing you." Jack untied the ropes that bound me and carefully applied a hemostatic and scar removal ointment to my face. He only let me leave when I looked just as usual. I live in a mansion in the suburbs. The houses here are very expensive. It's where the wealthy live. But my mansion isn't worth much, because people have died there. 12 people have died tragically in a row, and the blood of the dead has stained the floor tiles red. This mansion has thus become a haunted house. I once explained to Jack that this house isn't mine. I just moved in because it was cheap, but Jack didn't believe me. He thought I was lying. He even said the gemstone necklace I wore was a real gemstone worth millions. Sigh. This gemstone necklace isn't mine either. It was lent to me by my brother as a burial accessory for a few days. "Brother, I'm back." I pushed open the door of the mansion. In the center of the room was an extended dining table. On the dining table lay a corpse. "Sister, look, a great masterpiece is about to be born." My brother walked down the stairs, carrying a bamboo basket in his hand, pointing at the corpse on the table. "I'm going to plant flowers in her body. Sister, do you like tulips? Soon, her body will be filled with red, white, and pink tulips. How beautiful it will be." I looked up at my brother closely. He was so gentle and considerate. Only, he was dead. By accident, I discovered that when I was extremely hurt, I could bring the dead back to life. I've felt this pain twice. Both times I revived 2 corpses. They both live in the mansion. The one who died longer ago, I call him brother. The one who died recently, I call him younger brother. "Sister, why aren't you saying anything?" My brother pointed at the smooth white seeds in the basket. "Don't you like tulips?" I shook my head. "Brother, let's bury the body in the back garden. Otherwise, the house will be filled with the smell of decay." My brother looked at me in confusion. "Sister, you weren't like this before. You used to always support my creations." I put down my bag and walked up to my brother. He's been dead for a year. In life, he was the owner of this mansion, only 30 years old, successful in his career. He was also very handsome when he was alive. But now, time and bacteria had turned most of his flesh into bones. "Brother, you need to apply more formalin to preserve yourself." I smoothed out the wrinkles on his suit, gently saying, "Tomorrow my boyfriend is coming here. I don't want him to be scared of this house." My brother gently pinched my cheek. "Don't worry, tomorrow I'll wear a head covering. I promise I won't scare your boyfriend." I was very grateful. "Thank you." My brother smiled faintly and then pointed to the female corpse on the dining table. "I won't plant flowers in her now. Let's put her in the cold storage together so your boyfriend won't see her." How can I let my sister do this hard work? At this moment, a dull, heavy sound echoed as something hit the floor. It was my younger brother. He was handsome and had died 2 days ago from an overdose of sleeping pills. Therefore, his body was perfectly preserved. If it weren't for the smell of decay when he spoke, you wouldn't be able to tell he was dead. My younger brother stood on the second floor, grinning, showing a neat white set of teeth. Sister, look, I'm getting better and better at dribbling and shooting. I instinctively looked up. A round, grayish-blue ball was being dribbled and shot towards the bamboo basket by the female corpse on the dining table. Smack! The ball landed accurately in the basket. It also scattered the white seeds on the ground. My older brother seemed angry. These seeds were carefully selected from the last corpse. If they get damaged, they won't bloom beautifully. I just wanted to show my sister my ball skills. My younger brother mischievously stuck out his tongue at me and was about to jump down from the second floor. I quickly stopped him. Don't! My boyfriend is coming tomorrow. If you hurt yourself, I can't restore you. You still want to bring him home? My younger brother's usually smiling eyes flashed with gloom. Sister, I don't want him to come here. Let him come. I crouched down, picking up the seeds one by one. I love Jack. He always wants to see my home. How can I not fulfill his wish? My younger brother snorted coldly and asked the older brother, do you want our sister's boyfriend to come? My older brother looked at me helplessly. What can we do? Whatever our sister likes, I can only fully support. Soon, the corpse on the dining table was moved away. The white tablecloth was covered with various durian dishes. I love durian. Durian cake, durian pizza, durian pastry, durian soup, roasted durian. I sat in the chair, uncontrollably devouring the food. Sister, aren't you afraid of getting fat? My younger brother sat beside me. Seeing me eat with such gusto, he picked up some durian food and stuffed it into his mouth. He had barely taken a bite before he frowned and spat it out. Tasteless, not good at all. Maybe he spat too forcefully. He even coughed up a few threads of blood. I quickly grabbed a tissue and wiped his mouth. The dead can't eat the living's food. You need to eat more preservatives. I really don't want you to end up like brother, becoming a skeleton. Okay, I know. My younger brother blinked at me. I'll soak in formalin every day to slow down my collagen loss. We were chatting when we heard a woman's voice outside the mansion's fence. Hi everyone, I'm Amy. I'm here alone to explore the haunted mansion of a famous rich family. Give the streamer a free little red heart to motivate me more. I stood up and looked through the floor-to-ceiling windows, seeing a sexy hot woman standing outside the fence. Wow, thanks for the Porsche. Thanks Wang Dage. The streamer clearly didn't notice me. She excitedly blew kisses at the camera while walking towards the mansion. She's so rude, trespassing into our home. My younger brother slammed the table and stood up. Sister, I'll drive her away. At that moment, the door creaked open and the streamer stepped in. My God, why does this haunted house smell so bad? The streamer fanned her nose and craned her neck to look around. She saw us and was clearly surprised. Are you guys here to live stream the haunted house too? My younger brother held the ball, his face cold. Get out. The streamer ignored him. Her face was thick-skinned. She walked in and excitedly said to the camera, Guys, I've met a fellow streamer here. Wow, look at this fellow streamer's prop. It's so well made. The streamer pointed at the ball in my younger brother's hand. This ball looks like a head. Yes. I wiped my mouth with a napkin and smiled at her. You have a good eye. Ha! The streamer covered her mouth and laughed. This joke isn't scary or funny at all. I shook my head. I never joke. This ball was made by my older brother, who dug up a skull from the garden, cleaned it, and crafted it himself. Get out! My younger brother, full of disgust, threw the ball at the streamer. Ouch! The streamer was hit in the head and screamed in pain. Are you crazy? Afraid I'll steal your viewers? She picked up the ball and was about to throw it back at my younger brother. But for some reason she paused, shining her phone on the ball, and said, Guys, look at this ball. It's so well made. You can even see the rough texture of the skin pores. Sister, I'm getting annoyed. My brother suddenly spoke. He gently tapped the dining table with his bony fingers. That woman is too noisy. What should we do? I asked, while chewing the fragrant durian. Do you want to drive her away too? Wow, you guys are really creative, live streaming durian in a haunted house. Where's your equipment set up? The streamer buzzed like a fly, talking incessantly. She walked towards the dining table and patted my brother's hat-covered head. Handsome, isn't it uncomfortable to wear a hat at night? My brother's voice was indifferent. Not uncomfortable, it's much better than wearing a head cover. Hey, handsome, why aren't you talking? The streamer tilted her head closer to my brother. When she saw a face of bare bones, she instantly fell to the ground, her face pale with terror. My brother just spoke. I swallowed the last bite of durian and quietly looked at the streamer. He said it's not uncomfortable to wear a hat. You're crazy. The streamer got up from the ground and shouted, aren't you afraid of taboos using a skeleton to earn money? I'm not a streamer. I don't earn money. I frowned, patiently explaining, and this isn't a skeleton, he's my brother. Sister, she's really annoying. My older brother stood up from his chair, holding a knife meant for cutting durian cake, and slowly walked towards the streamer. I rarely take off my hat. Usually when I take it off, I use it to hold heads. You should run, I said sadly to the streamer. My brother is going to kill you. The streamer still didn't realize the danger. She held her phone, recording my brother, and excitedly shouted, guys, look, the skeleton is walking. The horror effect is off the charts. Then she turned her face slightly and whispered to me, is there a transparent fishing line inside the skeleton making it move? Where did you hide the fishing line? I looked at her with sadness and pity. You stream for money, right? Don't worry, I'll burn a lot of ghost money for you on your death anniversary. As I spoke, my brother reached the streamer. Though he had become a skeleton, he was still very strong, easily gripping the streamer's thin neck. The streamer was lifted off the ground by 2 feet. At first she thought it was a joke and continued recording. Only a few seconds later, when her heart and lungs couldn't draw any more air, did she panic. Help! Help! Thud. Her phone fell from her hand. I saw the screen filled with comments. The streamer is so dedicated, acting so well. This skeleton looks so real, it doesn't look like a plastic prop. I'm a medical student and I believe this is a decayed human skeleton. Actually, I think the ball from earlier was made of real human skin. Don't talk nonsense. These are just the streamer's tricks to attract viewers for Porsche gifts. I'm going all out today, sending 6 Porsche gifts. I picked up the phone and said to the viewers who had filled the screen with gifts, yes, you guessed right. Everything is a show effect. Don't take it seriously. Also, it's late. We're logging off now. Everyone rest early. With that, I smiled and turned off the phone. Sister, look, her head is really small. It can't even fill my hat. At this moment, the streamer had been dealt with by my brother. The floor, already dark red, was again covered with a layer of crimson blood. Her skull is nice. Let's use it to make a flower pot? My brother smiled. Sister, let's plant some succulents in this flower pot. They'll look so cute. I held my brother's hand. His hands, having just killed someone, were covered in sticky blood. I sighed and said seriously, brother, stop killing people. It really scares me. Before I could finish, the mansion door opened again. Standing in the doorway was a tall, fair-skinned man. It was my boyfriend, Jack. Jack? I sighed helplessly, wiping the blood from my hands with a tissue. Jack, I wasn't ready. Why did you come early? I missed you so much, so I came over. Unexpectedly, Jack's face didn't show the fear and terror I imagined. Instead, his eyes were filled with excitement. Yes, he looked excited. I almost forgot. Behind his handsome face lies a heart filled with violence, abuse, and sadism. Jack, aren't you afraid? I threw the blood-stained tissue on the ground, staring at Jack. There's a corpse on the ground. Jack walked towards me, a smile on his lips. Why should I be afraid? This corpse is just one of your props, right? Props? I was momentarily stunned. Ha ha ha, it's laughable. He's a doctor, yet he mistook a corpse for a prop. Kathleen, I plan to come to your house tomorrow. Jack hugged me, his slender fingers gently brushing my hair. But I saw the streamer's live broadcast, and I noticed you in her camera, so I came over. I didn't say anything, only greedily staring at his fingers. His hands are really beautiful. White. Slender. It's a shame for these hands to be used for sticking medical needles into me. I unconsciously bit my lip, thinking about what job to give these hands. Maybe digging. That way my brother would find it easier to plant flowers. Kathleen, did you plan this live broadcast with the streamer? I shook my head. No. Lying isn't good, girl. Jack gently scratched my nose. You teamed up with the streamer, saying your house is haunted, to make me give up on visiting, right? I still shook my head. Jack laughed. Kathleen, why don't you blush when you lie? Sigh. Why don't you believe me? I never lie, just like I never joke. I pointed to the streamer on the ground. Jack, the last person who didn't believe me, is now a corpse. I have to admit, this corpse looks very real. Jack raised his eyebrows, squatting down as if to pinch the streamer's arm. But he loved cleanliness, and the pool of blood around the streamer's neck made him frown. He stood up again, pointing to my brother. Kathleen, is this one of your art pieces? No. I walked up to my brother, took the bloody knife from his bony fingers and said, This is my brother. Your brother? Jack also walked up to my brother. He stared at my brother for a long time, then said with great surprise, This is real human bone, Kathleen. You're really rich to own human bones. I suddenly had doubts. Jack is a doctor. He can't tell the difference between a corpse and a prop, yet he can identify real human bones. I frowned, unconsciously scrutinizing Jack. At this point, I noticed. His forehead was covered in a fine layer of sweat. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. So, when he saw the streamer's corpse, he was faking his excitement instead of fear. Ha ha ha, his acting is excellent. Almost fooled me. Jack, is it hot? Why are you sweating? Jack is very tall. I stood on tiptoe, wiping the sweat from his forehead with my sleeve. Should I turn on the air conditioner? No need. Jack's usually composed face suddenly flashed with panic. I ran over to find you, that's why I'm sweating. Are you done? Suddenly, my younger brother spoke angrily. He deliberately dribbled the grayish-blue ball hard. Sister, I don't like him. Is this your younger brother? Jack extended his hand to my younger brother. Hello, I'm Jack. My younger brother's face was cold. Get out, you're not welcome here. Jack's expression stiffened, looking a bit awkward. He withdrew his hand, smiling at me. Kathleen, do you only have a younger brother? No one else? There's also an older brother. I pointed to the sapphire necklace around my neck. This necklace was lent to me by my brother. My brother responded gently, What's mine is yours. I'll give this necklace to you. I shook my head. I don't want your things. I can only borrow them because I know I'll have more and more jewelry in the future. Are you talking to an art piece? Jack frowned, about to say something more when his phone rang. He looked apologetically at me and answered the call. Hello? Mom, why are you calling? Jack coughed, took a step closer, and hugged me tightly. Kathleen, I know you don't want me to leave, but my mom is in the hospital. I must go see her. I replied calmly. Your mom has been dead for a long time. How can she be in the hospital? Jack's face turned as white as a sheet. How do you know my mom is dead? Because I killed her, I said, blinking innocently and returning to my seat at the dining table. For some reason, I felt incredibly hungry, even though I had just eaten a lot of durian. I devoured more food with abandon. Under Jack's gaze filled with doubt and tension, I spoke again, my voice muffled by my chewing. Your mom didn't like me. She said I was pretending to be a rich girl, but she could tell at a glance that I was just a country girl. She also said you were an only child from the city with a fully paid house and that I was not good enough for you. I begged your mom, saying, Auntie, I really love Jack. Please allow us to be together. But your mom refused. To separate us, she called a few thugs to harm me. Jack, don't you think your mom was cruel? Jack staggered, his voice trembling, stammering almost incoherently. How did you kill my mom? I simply repaid her in kind. I shrugged, spitting out a durian seed. But your mom was old and couldn't take the torment, so she died. I then pointed to the floor tiles and smiled. See? These tiles used to be white, but now they're red. Do you know why they're red? They're stained with human blood. Your mom contributed a portion of that blood. Are you even human? Jack was shaking all over, his eyes filled with rage as he suddenly lunged at me. You monster! You should die! Sister! My brother shouted, extending his skeletal hands to block Jack. I laughed. Brother, let him hit me. After all, he's about to die. I've always been magnanimous. I wouldn't stoop to the level of a dead person. Slap. Jack's slap landed on my face. I felt a burning sensation on my face. Blood trickled from my nose. It hurt so much. This pain is worse than when he used needles on me. I felt a throbbing in my temples, a strange sensation in my heart. This feeling was too familiar. I can only activate my peculiar ability to bring the dead back to life when I'm extremely hurt, both physically and mentally. Now, my special ability is about to kick in. I began to feel excited. Jack, he will soon belong to me forever. After slapping me, Jack didn't strike again. I think he might have noticed something strange about me when he saw my skeletal brother moving without any visible strings to protect me. Jack realized something was wrong. He pushed me away forcefully, knocking me to the ground, then sprinted toward the mansion's door. Jack! I held my throbbing heart, laughing wildly. You always wanted to visit my home. Why are you leaving so soon? Stay with me forever. Naturally, Jack didn't manage to escape. My brother is not just a skeleton, but also a ghost. No one can escape from a ghost. My brother grabbed Jack's neck and gently said to me, "Sister, how do you want him to die? You love him so much. I won't let him die in an ugly way." I smiled. My brother is the most considerate. But Jack cried. A grown man, he cried. At this moment, his tears wet his beautiful black eyes. "Kathleen, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit you. I'm sorry. Please let me go." I frowned. Jack had lost all his former facade, leaving only the ugly appearance of a person desperate to live. He looked so ugly like this. "Kathleen, let me go. I promise I will never hit you again." I sighed. "But if I kill you, you become a corpse, and you'll do whatever I want you to do." Jack hurriedly said, "But corpses rot, they stink. I'm human, I won't smell." I took another bite of durian cake. What he said made some sense. My most beloved younger brother, he does smell. "All right," I said, wiping my fingers clean with a tissue. "I can let you go." As soon as I spoke, my brother released Jack. My brother turned to me. "Sister, are you really going to let him go?" Jack couldn't hear my brother's words. As soon as he landed, he knelt in front of me. "Thank you, Kathleen, thank you, I promise." "You don't need to promise. Men's promises are the most unreliable." I walked up to him and said slowly, "I can let you go, but we have to play a game." Jack's body, kneeling at my feet, instantly stiffened. What game?" "Hide and seek." I stroked Jack's jet black hair. "I'll give you 10 minutes to hide in my mansion. If I find you within the next 10 minutes, you will die. If I can't find you after 10 minutes, you can walk out of this mansion alive." Jack, like a wind-up robot, slowly lifted his head to look at me. He said nothing, but his eyes were full of despair. I gently stroked his sculpted face. "Jack, I always keep my word. Now hurry up and hide. Time is running out." Jack had no choice. He took his long legs and ran madly upstairs. I covered my mouth and laughed out loud. "Brother, younger brother, look at him. The way he runs, he looks like a dog." My brother sat beside me, smiling faintly. "Sister, do you want to preserve his body intact, or let flowers bloom in his body?" I answered truthfully, "I haven't decided yet." "Sister, you are so cruel." My younger brother put the ball on the table, looking at me with deep eyes. "I don't like him. Let him go, okay?" "No," I stretched out my voice. "I like him. I want him to stay here and be with me forever." "Sister, why have you become so cruel?" My younger brother stared at me, disappointed. "You weren't like this before." "Then let me tell you a story." I stood up, took the food from the table, and returned to my seat. Then, I picked up a piece of durian and stuffed it into my mouth, my cheeks bulging as I spoke. "Once upon a time, there was a girl who was abandoned by her parents because she was a baby girl. She grew up in an orphanage. She was very fat, maybe nearly 300 pounds, so she was very ugly. No one liked her from childhood to adulthood. When she went to school, her classmates called her a fat monster, threw garbage at her. She endured it all, thinking things would be different when she started working. She thought, since her co-workers were adults, they wouldn't bully her. And indeed, no one bullied her. Even her boss was kind to her. Her boss was handsome, very wealthy, and most importantly, very kind to her. One day, her boss told her he liked her. The girl was terrified, saying she was too fat to be worthy of him. But her boss said he thought she was kind, and he didn't care about her appearance, only her heart. The girl was very foolish. She was moved and believed his words and followed him to his home. When they got home, she drank the water he gave her and fainted. In a daze, she saw many people in white coats around her. Among them was her boss, holding hands with a very beautiful girl. Then, she heard her boss say, the girl had a rare blood type and her kidneys matched his girlfriend's. The boss also said they should remove the girl's kidneys, and if she died, bury her in the back garden. But the doctors didn't dare, so the boss had to cut her open himself. The girl was in pain and hatred. She cursed that the boss and everyone who hurt her would die. Later, her curse worked. The boss, his girlfriend, and a group of doctors, 10 people in total, were all cursed to death by her. Finally, the girl dragged the dead bodies into the back garden of the mansion and buried them all. By this point, tears were inexplicably streaming down my face. Sister, my younger brother looked at me with sympathy in his eyes. Was the girl in the story you? I took a deep breath, wiped away my tears, and smiled. The story isn't finished yet. Listen carefully to the end. After killing 10 people, the girl felt immense pressure and depression. She was so miserable that she wanted to die. Later, one day, a year later, she couldn't bear it anymore. She took a knife and knelt in the back garden, preparing to slit her wrists. When the knife cut her skin and her blood dripped onto the ground, she noticed the soil shifting. Soon after, she saw her boss come back to life. But the boss wasn't as handsome as before. He had turned into a skeleton. The boss's revival eased a lot of her psychological pressure. She wanted to revive the other 9 people, but found she couldn't. That's when the girl realized she could only revive the people she loved the most when she was in extreme physical and emotional pain. I stuffed another piece of durian into my mouth, speaking through my chewing. Later, the girl discovered that her flesh and fat gradually transferred to her boss's body. Over time, the girl began to get thinner and thinner, no matter what or how much she ate. My younger brother handed me a tissue. Who is this boss? I laughed, swallowing the piece of durian and pointing to my silent older brother. It's him. My older brother is my generous boss. My brother had already become a skeleton. His face showed no expression, but his whole body twitched, looking as if he was in great pain. He suddenly lost his usual elegance and knelt before me. Sister, I'm sorry. I was foolish and did things that hurt you. It's okay. I patted my brother's bony fingers. Brother, I forgive you. Truly, I forgave him, but that doesn't mean I'm not angry. My ability to revive the dead only works when I'm in extreme pain. Once revived, the dead must listen to me and please me. Otherwise, I could make them suffer with just a thought, like reciting a mantra. Sister, you've suffered. My younger brother held my hand, wiping away my tears. I never knew you went through so much pain after our parents abandoned you. It's okay. I giggled. Now I feel very happy with my beloved older brother and younger brother. Compared to your story, my heartbreak is nothing. My younger brother sighed. Had I known, I would never have taken sleeping pills to kill myself over my cheating girlfriend. But now I've revived you. I said to my younger brother, if you want, I can bring your girlfriend here to stay with you forever. I don't want any more deaths. My younger brother shook his head. I just want it to be the 3 of us in this mansion. You, brother, and me. That's not possible. I raised my hand, looking at the elegant watch on my wrist. I've been telling this story for 9 minutes. There's still 1 minute left, and this mansion will have 1 more permanent resident. Please, sister, let him go. My younger brother clutched my hand, pleading. I smiled and shook my head. That's not possible. Jack probably didn't remember that he was my classmate in elementary school, middle school, and even high school. I had a foolish crush on him. He actually confessed to me. I accepted. Later, I found out his confession was just a bet. He told his classmates, how could I like that fat monster? But now, after I slimmed down, he truly fell for me. Haha. Men, their words are the most unreliable. Jack, are you hiding well? I rubbed my stomach, looking at my watch, and called out, there are 39 seconds left. Time ticked away. I grew more excited. I stood up and shouted upstairs, 10, 9, 3, 2, 1. Jack, the countdown is over. I'm coming to find you. I started walking upstairs. My brother and younger brother followed me up. The mansion had 3 floors. Everything was arranged neatly and meticulously. There were few places to hide besides under the bed and in the closet. There was no one on the 2nd floor. On the 3rd floor, I looked around slightly and noticed a pair of shoes sticking out from behind the curtains. My brother shook his head. It's a trick. He's not there. I walked to the curtains on purpose. Jack, I've found you! With a swift motion, I pulled back the curtains. Of course, no one was there. I let out a surprised sound. Where is he? My brother pointed towards the balcony. He's clinging to the air conditioning unit outside the wall. Sigh, Jack, you're so clever. I can't find you. I pretended to be dejected. Come out quickly. My younger brother asked, Sister, the 10 minutes are up. Shouldn't you let him go? Indeed. I called towards the balcony. Jack, come out. I keep my word, I'm going to let you go. Jack still didn't move. He's cautious, not knowing how to please the one who makes the rules. I didn't want to continue the game. So I walked to the balcony, leaned on the railing, and looked at Jack. Come down. I'll let you go. Jack was clinging to the air conditioning unit like a lizard, looking very pitiful. He panted heavily, looking at me suspiciously. Really? You'll really let me go? I reached out my hand. Of course. Jack hesitated for a long time before deciding to come towards me. As soon as he came down, I said to my brother, Brother, do you know how to make bacon strips? My brother shook his head. No, I pointed at Jack. Then I'll give him to you to practice. Jack was trembling all over. What are bacon strips? I smiled. Bacon strips are made by slaughtering pigs and stripping their skin to make bacon. I had asked Jack to come down from the air conditioner unit because I didn't want him to fall. If he fell, his fair and perfect skin would be damaged. Then the bacon strips wouldn't be complete. You lied to me, Jack shouted. You said if you didn't find me in 10 minutes, you'd let me go. Ha 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 ha. I laughed wildly and loudly. He was cautious. At the same time, he was foolish. In this mansion, I am the king. I can make him break the 10-minute rule. I want to kill him. For any reason, I can kill him. The so-called game of hide and seek and letting him go was just me amusing myself, but he believed it. He's truly ridiculous. I won't let you have your way, even if I die. At this moment, Jack suddenly roared. He moved faster than ever, jumping from the 3rd floor. Jack died. He just died like that. He couldn't withstand a fright. I leaned on the balcony, feeling very sad. Another person I loved had died. Sigh. I hurried downstairs, running to Jack's body, and cried my heart out. I cried until my voice was hoarse. Then, I took out the knife I had prepared and slit my wrist. Blood once again dripped onto Jack's body. Jack revived once more. The revived Jack wasn't looking good. The garden downstairs was full of roses. Roses are beautiful, but have thorns. Jack's face was scratched, his skin cut all over. Kathleen, don't cry. The revived Jack became much more obedient, looking at me timidly. When you cry, I feel sad. I laughed through my tears. Okay, I won't cry. From then on, 13 people had died in this mansion, and my home gained 3 corpses who could talk, who were very remarkable and treated me well. My brother, younger brother, and Jack and I spent a long time together in the mansion, until I got bored. I forgot to mention I've loved many people. I am a fickle person. I got bored of Jack. Now, I'm going to find a new prey. One morning, I got up early, put on my makeup, and went to a cafe near the university. Actually, I've had a crush on the cafe owner for a long time. He's a rich 2nd generation. He opened a cafe and claimed to be single. In reality, he had 6 girlfriends. One of them abandoned my younger brother for him, indirectly leading to my younger brother's suicide by sleeping pills. Now, I'm going to avenge my younger brother. I pushed open the door of the cafe. I saw the owner give me a greedy look. A slight smile appeared on my lips. I knew I was about to become the owner's 7th girlfriend. I also knew I would be his last girlfriend.